Good morning. Happy Tuesday, everyone. If you missed any of the Training Tuesdays, please check out our Skybits YouTube channel. Training Tuesday will start shortly. Let's give everyone a few minutes to join. All right, I see a couple more folks coming in. Just giving them a few more minutes. All right, let's get started. I just want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Benno. I'm one of Skybit's customer success managers out of the Herndon, Virginia office. Pulling up today's agenda, we will be going over landmarks. So in today's training, we'll be creating landmarks, editing landmarks, and viewing landmarks, quick search landmarks, and locating assets by landmarks. We will be answering any questions towards the end of the training, so please feel free to type in your questions in the chat box. Everything discussed today is currently available on Insight, but might be a few features and capabilities not available from your current account. All right, so I'm currently in our Skybits engineering demo. First, let's create a landmark. You would go to Manage Settings, Landmarks, Add. It will give you a pop-up of all the details that you need to input to create a new landmark. So for this test purpose, I'll type in a location ID is maybe an internal ID that you can set for a specific location. So I'll just do landmark type. I'll just need to select any of the pre-filled settings and types. So I'll give you an option for a multi-point and our circular tool. But at first, let's type in the street and city and state to get the lat and long. So as you can see, well, once I selected the address and selected lat and long, it pulled up the geofence around that area. So this is the shopping center close to our office building. As you can see, I can shape the landmark for my preference, by my preference. So there's two different drawing types, multi-point and circular. So the multi-point allows you to kind of create different shapes around that custom landmark. But when you select circular, it will provide a radius around that specific landmark. For this example, I'll select the multi-point. All right, So let's zoom in a little bit here. And let's get this landmark created. Once I have all the multi-points to the locations I want them to be in, I would just need to click on Add Landmark. And now I successfully created that landmark. I can also save and delete the landmark on the Edit Landmark page, or tweak any things or make any changes necessary. I can also go back into landmarks and click on Edit and Delete or View. So Edit and Delete allows you to view certain landmarks that you already have created. So I'll search for the landmark I just created. You can either select the country and state and go through the landmark list, or type in the landmark name. Since I typed in a location ID for my landmark, I can just type it in here. As you can see, once I typed in the location ID I inputted, the landmark appears. It will provide you the landmark name, the address, lat and long, what type of landmark it is, the created date, and there will be other icons on the right. First will be the show on map icon. So pretty much it will show the landmark on the map. The pencil is obviously an edit landmark, so you can make any changes necessary. The trash can is delete landmark. And the next one is a nested landmark. So going over nested landmarks. So a nested landmark is a landmark within a landmark. So for instance, I selected the shopping center and I want to target some areas of the parking lot. I can create a nested landmark. I'll go to the top right here, select the plus sign. It's going to give me an option for a multi-point or circular landmark. Then I'll kind of adjust that nested landmark to that area. So say that I just want to have a specific landmark catered to this parking lot inside that landmark. And create that shape. I'll just type in parking lot. The type as blank and click on add. Move this closer. And now you can see that I created a nested landmark in the specific area in that original landmark I created. On the right side shows you the different nested landmarks you have in that specific landmark, the parent landmark. And you can edit and delete as well. Say that you want to view any landmarks in a specific state or country, you can do that as well. Just click on country, US. And for this example, I'll select Virginia. As you can see, once I selected the country and state, it will populate all the landmarks in Virginia. So as you can see here, you can scroll down the list. So on the top right, you also have a feature where you can download it as a spreadsheet. So once you download it as a spreadsheet, it will give you all the landmark names and the address and the created date. So the best way to kind of tell if it's a generic or a custom landmark, or a landmark that you created, which is a custom landmark, you can go in, type in the asset ID, look up that trailer's history, and in the table you'll see landmark types. So any generic landmarks are a major point of interest. So it will be annotated as generic. Any custom landmark will have a landmark type different than generic. So for this example, SD Pennsylvania is a custom landmark, and it's a packaging landmark type. In the map view at the top, you can also see the different landmarks as well. So if you kind of hover over it, zoom in a little bit, hover over it, you will see the landmark name. And the generic landmark is up here. We'll also show you the landmark name. So the best way to kind of search for what trailers are at what specific landmarks, I'll just go into locate assets, location-based search. Then from here, I can select the country, state, or landmark, or city and town, and base it by the distance. So I'll just set it to 1 mile. And I'll select Virginia for this example. And I'll select our Herndon office as a test. So I just want to go in here, display on map. And it now shows you anything within a 1 mile radius of that custom landmark. So my custom landmark is named HQ Herndon, Test Herndon. It will show you that specific landmark on the map. And if you zoom in, these markers will show you what specific trailers are there. Same as in that table view. You can also, if you know the name of that specific landmark, you can also type it in the quick search bar on the top right. And also there's another way to kind of view landmarks, and that would be asset view. So from last week, we kind of went over asset view and the different filter types. So for this example, let's type in installed. And since I want to check on specific landmarks and what trailers are at those landmarks, I can select assets at landmark, select yes. And type it in there. Or I can select that location and the radius based on the country and state. So let's click submit. And now I see a bunch of landmarks here at that specific landmark location I typed in. I can click on asset list to get everything. I can change this to a satellite view as well to get everything on the map. Scroll through here, see everything, all the trailers on that at that specific landmark. I can type any specific trailer numbers. So as you can see here, just type there. And I can download this as a spreadsheet to get all this information. Next, I'll kind of go over landmark groups. So if I go into here, landmark groups. So landmark groups provide you a way to kind of group landmarks, specific landmarks together. So for example, 5 locations are only catered to certain customers. You can group those together and run a yard check report against them. So creating a landmark group is pretty simple. I'll just type in the group name. Demo. Other. So I can either select US, Mexico, Canada. For this example, I'll select US. And I'll select Virginia. And I'll just select fine. So it'll populate all the landmarks in US Virginia. So I'll just select a few here. You can also click Shift or Control to select the multiple or certain landmarks. And once I have a landmark in groups, I can just click Save here. All right, so I selected 4 landmarks, and 4 landmarks is at the top box here on the landmark group I created. So from this point, I can also go create a yard check report in Insight Now. So if I go into here, Insight Now, yard check, I'm going to filter. Since I created a landmark group, I can type in the landmark group here. And you can see on the left column, the test landmark group populated. So I'll just drag this over. So from here, you would need to select different cargo statuses. So if you have cargo sensor units, you can either select empty or loaded, empty or just loaded. So I'll just leave this as null. You can select idle time as well. And reported within the last, so you can select 1 week, 2 weeks, or a month. So I'll just leave this as null as well. Once I've selected all the filters I want to, I click on Save. All right, name the report. Click on Save. And as you can see, I created a yard check report for those 4 landmarks in those landmark group. And the report name is called Test Demo. I can download this right now and as a CSV and open up in Excel, or schedule a saved report. So I can schedule this to go out to certain individuals who are kind of managing these locations or these customers. I can schedule this report to go out to them once daily, weekly, monthly, and I can specify certain times it can go out to. So I'll just press cancel here. You also can check on landmark activity. So if you go into here, analyze assets, landmark activity, I can select the address or certain landmark information or the duration. So I go into here, let me select US again, Virginia, and I will just gonna select our Herndon office. This, click on submit. And now it will show you the different trailer numbers and serial numbers arriving and departing at certain specific landmark. I can upload this up here. Click on details. So it will populate the last 15 entries for this specific trailer. And it gives you a breakdown of all the activity within that yard. Minimize it right there. I can also select on the top right to download this in a spreadsheet as well. To kind of recap on our discussion today, our training, we kind of walked through creating landmarks and nested landmarks, how to edit and view landmarks, and different options to kind of locate assets by landmarks. And the landmark activity also shows you critical arrival and departure times by landmarks. The last thing I want to note is you could also, I think I forgot to mention, to view landmarks. If you just want to view landmarks at that specific locations, we can also view that as well. So I just selected US, Virginia, and our Herndon office here. It's going to give you an option to view. And if you view this landmark this way, it will also break down the current trailers at that location. And you can also break it down by the radius around that location as well, from 0 to 10 miles. All right. So that kind of concludes today's training. We had a few questions, I think, in the chat. Let me check here. All right. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question, or you can type it in the chat box below.
We do have some questions, Ben. So we had some questions during the training, but I definitely didn't want to interrupt. So first question that came in was from Jeremy Garrison. What is the purpose of nested landmarks and how can they help me?
So the whole purpose of a nested landmark is saying, so say that you have an extremely big distribution center or yard. Say that you kind of want to manage those trailers in a specific area of the yard. Because if you have one parent landmark, you're going to see all the trailers at specific, at one location. So that's the parent landmark you created. But for nested landmarks, you can kind of make segments within the yard. So you can have visibility what area of the yard that trailer is currently at.
Thanks, Ben. Oh, we have a couple questions coming in. Okay, so let's go to J.R. Baxter's first question. Can landmark creation be limited to admin only and not everyone with a login?
Yes. So landmark creation can be limited by admin only if necessary. But at the least, if not, none of the permissions have changed. It will be the standard users can have access to landmark creation as well.
All right. And can you define, this is from Naomi, can you define landmark type again, please?
Yes. So landmark types are different, kind of how you categorize landmarks. So either if it's a shop, a distribution center, a yard, or a customer facility, or just a parking lot. So landmark types can be all different based on what specific landmark that is. So based on if it's a customer landmark, you can say, oh, okay, this is a customer drop lot, and you can select that as a landmark type.
Thanks, Ben. And JR had another question. Can you show how to create a landmark within a landmark again?
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
So if I go into here, so first thing to do if you want to create a nested or landmark within a landmark is you need to have a parent landmark created first. So if I go into here, so I already created one. So let's go into here. Well, I guess we can create a new one. Let's go here. Then I'm gonna select landmark. All right, so since I already created this landmark earlier, I'll kind of move away from a different point. All right. So here I'm just gonna type in the landmark name again, location ID, make something up. And from here, I want to create a multi-point again. I want to drag this over here. So say that I want to, this is going to be my parent landmark I'm creating. So I want to make some borders. Once that's done, right? Once that's done, I'm going to click on Add Landmark. All right, so it looks like I added a landmark called Tested Nested. So from here, I need to go back to Menu Settings, Landmarks, Edit and Delete. Type in either the landmark name or the location ID. So I created the location ID for this specific landmark. So I type in TN here. As you can see, the landmark I created populated on the screen. So on the far right, you're going to see some action buttons. So you're on the last button to the right is the nested landmark. So I'm going to click that. And it's going to populate the parent landmark here. So from here, I'm going to click on this, click on the check plus box on the top right. And I can now create my circular landmark. Circular or multi-point landmark here. All right. So say that this specific area of that landmark are created, I want to nest it within there. So maybe be a particular part of the yard or a specific area of the yard that is very important for visibility. I can create that there. So once that's done, I can type in any type of name for that nested landmark, and I'll just click on add. So once I added it, you can see that the parent landmark now has a nested landmark named test parking. So if I hover over this purple bluish landmark, it will show you the nested landmark. So any questions here regarding that?
There was another question about nested landmarks. Does the asset show in both the regular and nested landmark location?
So it would only show in the nested landmark if it's in that geofence landmark area, nested landmark area. If it's outside of that nested geofence area, then it will report at the parent landmark location. So it will not report at this at two landmarks at one time. It will either report either in the nested if it's in that same location or area, or the overall parent landmark.
All right, thanks, Ben. And then I had one more question from Jeremy. Can you go over the link landmark function?
Yes, so the link landmark function, so you can click on manage settings, link landmarks. So it'll kind of give you a breakdown of what this feature does. So I can select here, select Virginia. And let me find our office again. For example, click on find. So as you can see here, it's just pretty much a landmark selector. So I can select here, like that. So pretty much the basic functionality for link landmarks is allows you to create, edit landmarks in the links, or pretty much just view the links already set up for the landmarks created already. If I go back to Virginia again, select the landmark I created for our Herndon office, click on find. It's just going to create links for each one. Back here. So that's pretty much landmark links. It's pretty almost the same similar feature set as like view and edit landmarks. So I don't think a lot of folks kind of utilize the link landmarks feature.
Right. Thank you. And then one more question. This kind of goes into another topic, notifications, but if Ben, if you could just specifically talk about in the notifications section where you can utilize landmarks to receive in and out of landmark notifications, that would be great. You don't have to obviously go into all of the notifications, that part.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah, definitely I'll touch on the notifications. So say that you have all the landmarks you created for your, and that is needed for your account. And you have visibility of trailers, that's specific landmarks. So kind of the next step is to create notification. So a notification will send you an email alert saying, hey, this trailer has arrived at this landmark or departed at this landmark. So if I go into here, go to manage settings, notifications, then set up notification rules. Go into here, click on add new rules at the top right of this box. So here I'm gonna type in, say that I wanna see what trailers are coming at a certain location. So I'll just do Herndon, which is our office, arrival. So I'll name it that. Then you're gonna need to follow the steps here, step 2, 3, and 4. So step 2 is actually selecting specific assets. So if you have those assets in a specific group, you can select those. Or if you want to select only one asset, so you're trying to track down this one trailer, you can select this one asset. Or you can select all assets. For this example, I'll select all assets. And as you can see, there's all different types of condition to be monitored. So I think so for this example, I want to track what's coming at my custom landmark. So pretty much our office landmark. So I want to click on asset, arrived at landmark. So from here, I'm going to select my Virginia office. All right, so that's, so there it is. And I'm going to click on add. Once that's added to the bottom list, I can just click on save. And now the landmark populated in that drop-down field box. Once that's selected, so in the step 3, you can only select one condition at a time. You can't select multiple. So you'll move down to condition occurs. So you can select different schedule types. So if you want to monitor this like 7 days a week, you can do that as well. Or you can just select specific dates you want to monitor this. Same thing that goes with time. For this example, I'll just click on all and just click on OK. And you can also set this notification rule to expire as well. So say that you want this notification to expire in 30 days. You can type in 30 days here. And you can now, step 4 is the setting up the destination where you want the notification sent to. So based on your account destinations you set up, you can select here on specific individuals you want to get this notification. You can specify the certain day of the week and certain time. And once you selected that, you just click on add, and now you created a notification rule for arriving at a specific landmark. Same thing in this step goes for landmark departure as well. So it's the same thing for landmark arrival and departure, same steps. But instead of collecting this asset arrived at landmarks, we would click on asset departed from landmarks right here. And you could just do the same exact steps, edit list. Fine. I'm gonna drop down here, find my Herndon office, click on add. You can also select multiple too. I think I forgot to mention that, multiple landmarks. So say that certain landmarks are catered to specific customers or critical to some project you're running. You can also select multiple landmarks and click on save. And you should populate in the list dropdown. I think that pretty much covers up the notifications for landmarks. You know, obviously, there's a lot of different conditions, but arrival and departure is the ones I'll kind of focus more on.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it. That is all the questions we had, and I don't see any hands raised. So I just wanted to, before Ben closes up, I want to make sure everybody's aware the DoorDash eligibility. We will have that worked out right after the broadcast is over. Our marketing department will send out the link for the DoorDash, and then we appreciate you coming. I'll just let Ben close up. Thanks, everybody.
Well, so thanks everyone for joining. Appreciate everyone's time. Just please make sure to check us out on our Skype's YouTube channel. So all the videos, past Training Tuesdays, any additional trainings and information is available on our SkyTube YouTube channel there. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any one of us. We're always happy here, always happy to support each and every one of you. Thank you for joining, and have a great day.